Hello guys. Uh, Yesterday we have seen so many numerical problem based on the chapter semiconductor means with the what was the energy band gap in semiconductor and what will be the wavelength of incident radiation or emitted radiation by the PN junction diode and other things means circuitry problem and other things we have seen. Today let's see the numerical of nuclei, chapter nuclei. We are going to actually solve some of the numericals on every chapter one by one, and I am going in the reverse order. So I think there is no problem to all of you. So first question in nuclei is related to the properties of nucleus, or simple as we have studied the binding energy of the system, and it is represented as equal to delta m square. And also if we want to say that suppose that electron is revolving in the nucleus, and what will be the equivalent energy it will have. So this is the question regarding to that. Calculate the equivalent energy of electron and proton at rest. Means if proton and electrons are at rest, then what will be their energy? So that energy is known as rest mass energy, potential energy, or simple equivalent energy. So as from the Einstein mass energy mass relationship, we know that E is equal to mc square. Clear? So if this two particles are at rest, so it means that they will not have any kinetic energy. So definitely this equation will have only this form, E equal to mc square. So we have to calculate the energy of electron and proton separately. So for electron, here will be E simple equivalent energy of electron equal to mass of electron into its speed square. So what will be the mass of electron? That is given as into 3 into 10 to the power 8 whole square. This value will come into joule. So as I have told you that the energy of nucleus or other particles, atomic particles, is calculated in the form of electron volt or mega electron volt. So we can calculate this energy in mega electron volt by dividing it simple 1.6 into 10 power minus 13. For electron volt, we should divide it 10 by 1.6 into 10 power minus 19, but for mega electron volt it will be 10 power minus 13. So after solving it, we can obtain what will be the value of equivalent energy which will be electron have at rest. So that will come 0.511 mega electron volt. So I think simple what is equivalent energy, that is clear to you. Don't be confused with this name. This is nothing but it is rest mass energy. So in the similar manner, for proton we can calculate what will be the equivalent energy. So for the proton, again the equation will be equivalent energy of proton equal to mass of proton into speed square. So what is the mass of proton? That is 1.67 into 10 power minus 27 into 3 into 10 to the power 8 whole square. This value is in joule, and to convert it into mega electron volt, we can divide it simple by this amount, and this value will be in the terms of mega electron volt. So after solving this, we will get this value will be this. So simple, at rest we can say that proton will have greater amount of energy than the electron. So as that's why as I told you the case of nucleus, that in the nucleus there is not possibility of electron, as electron have less amount of energy to exist in nucleus. So and proton have sufficient amount, that's why protons are existing in the nucleus. So I think this numerical problem is now clear to you. With numerical problem, I always want to tell you the theoretical approach regarding to this problem. So I think there is no problem. So let's see other numericals. So the next numerical problem is related to binding energy problem. As I told you that what is binding energy, that is the energy needed to bind any two nucleons together within the nucleus, or simple the energy needed to split up any two nucleon into the pieces. So simple, the question regarding to that is what energy is needed to split an alpha particle into pieces. So given mass of alpha particle is this, mass of proton is given, mass of neutron is given, and 1 mu equal to how many mega electron volts that are given. So means we here we have to calculate the energy needed to split any alpha particle into pieces. So as you know that alpha particles are helium atom nuclei, so there will be 2 proton and 2 neutron in alpha particle. Means alpha particles are made up of 2 protons and 2 neutrons. So we can calculate what energies will be here required for the alpha particle to split up into pieces. So simple, we have equation for this, that is delta m square, where delta m is the mass defect. So what is the mass defect? Simple, as you know that if you we will calculate the mass of constituent particles, so that is always greater to the mass of nucleus, because some of the mass is converted into energy, means and that energy is used to bind the nucleons together. So that's why we always need some energy to split them again. So if we want to calculate delta m, so what will be delta m? Then first this value will be mass of constituent particles. And what is the mass of constituent particle? 2 protons and 2 neutrons. So 2 into 1.007825 plus 2 into this mass of neutron 1.008665. So this is the mass of proton and neutron. And now minus the given mass of alpha particle is 4.0039. So this is delta m totally, and after solving this value we have to multiply it by 3 into 10 to the power 8 whole square, and this value will be in the case means if we have to multiply it 931.5, then the whole value will be in mega electron volt. Clear, I think. Simple, since these values are in mu, then we can convert it into mega electron volt by simply multiplying this. So this is the total what is the energy, that is I think simply clear to you, and we can solve it. After solving it we will get finally, actually we don't have to write this thing, because if mu is given here, then automatically it is the form of energy with the help of mass energy equivalence. So we can solve it, and after solving that we will get its value will be 27.09 mega electron volt. So this is the concept according to the simple binding energy. Here if masses are in mu, simple, if we multiply it by this factor, this will be converted into energy form. So if we will calculate the mass defect, then definitely after multiplying this factor by this we can get the energy which will be needed to split an alpha particle. So I think this numerical problem is also again clear to you. So the next question is also regarding to the binding energy. As we have seen the concept of binding energy per nucleon, and you know that what is the value of binding energy per nucleon, or calculation of, means we can draw a curve regarding to the binding energy per nucleon and mass number, and after that we have seen the stability of nucleus in terms of that, and we can how can we understand this while some nuclei are more stable and other nuclei are not stable. So all these factors can be understandable by this factor. So we can calculate what will be the binding energy per nucleon on for any atom, and also or any nuclei, simple, and with the help of this calculation we can say that whether this nuclei will be positive charge, nuclei will be stable or unstable. So here the question is that calculate the binding energy per nucleon in the nuclei of phosphorus. Simple. And these data has been given here. The mass of phosphorus, mass of neutron, and mass of proton. Here that is given. So what we have to do, simple. We have to calculate what will be the mass defect. So what will be mass defect? You know that the formula for mass defect is ZMP, or simple, if you want to write in this form, then you can write it Z into mass of one proton plus N into N. Here is the number of nucleon or neutron, or you can write here A minus Z, mass of neutron minus mass of this nuclei. So that is mass of 31. Clear? So we have to only use this formula and we can calculate what will be the mass defect in this case. So let's see what will be the mass defect. So by using this formula, delta M will be the number of protons here, that is 15, into mass of one proton, that is 1.00782 atomic mass unit, plus number of neutrons here is, after doing it you can calculate it, that will be 16, and that the mass of neutron is 1.00865. This is mass of constituent particles total. And now we can put the value of mass of this nuclei, and the value of mass of nuclei, that is given 30.97376. So after solving this value, we will get some value for delta M. Clear? So if delta M can be calculated, then we have to calculate, and this value will be in the form of mu. And if we multiply this whole terms by 931.5, then this will be converted into mega electron volt. So this is the binding energy for the phosphorus nuclei. And if we have to calculate this binding energy per nucleon, so what will be the binding energy per nucleon? So that will be equal to this whole term and upon, simple, this whole term upon nucleon. So what is the number of nucleons in that system? That is total 31 nucleons are there. Clear? Number of protons plus number of neutrons. So 31 nucleons are there, and we can solve this value, and after solving this we will get what will be the binding energy per nucleon in this case, and that will comes 8.67 mega electron volt. So I think the problem is very simple to you. First we have to find whether the energy is required or to split any nuclei, or simple, if we want to join any atom, then for all these cases first we have to calculate mass defect. And if values are given in the form of atomic mass unit, so we have to multiply it by 931.5, then that will be the value of binding energy in this case. But if the values are given in kg, then first means if masses are given in the form of kg, then in that case first we have to multiply with the speed in that, speed square of speed in that, and after that will be value will be in joule, and we have to divide it by 1.6 into 10 power minus 13. Then and after that it will be converted into mega electron volt. So I think conversion I have already taught you what is the conversion in the atomic or nuclei chapter. So I think there is no problem regarding to all that things. So first, if we will calculate only this values in atomic mass unit, then after multiplying it, it will give us the value of binding energy. And if we will divide it by the number of nucleons, that will give us binding energy per nucleon. So if this value is like this, and this value is quite high, the maximum value for binding energy per nucleon is 8.8 for iron, but for phosphorus, as we are seeing that it is 8.67. This is also the quite high value, sufficient value. So we can say that by calculation of this, that phosphorus term is also very stable. It means when the nuclei of phosphorus is very stable, means it is hard to break the nuclei of phosphorus. So after numerical problem, after calculation, we can understand why the binding energy in binding energy curve, some points are at peak or some points at a lower point. So after with the calculation of their binding energy per nucleon, we can draw that. So the next problem is related to the nuclear reactions. So as I have told you that what is the nuclear reaction. So if to any target nuclei, any fast moving or energetic particle is bombarded, then that atom is, if that atom is heavy, then that can be split up into two or more parts with the emission of some particles. So in that process, the heavy atom is converted into the lighter atom and attains the stability. So the problem is related to that. The problem is a neutron strikes boron nucleus with the subsequent emission of an alpha particle. Means here a neutron is bombarding on this atom, and after bombardment of this atom, some other lighter atom and an alpha particle is emitted. So we have to find atomic number, mass number and chemical name of the remaining nucleus. Simple. So for this we can write a reaction, chemical reaction, that will be simple. Neutron, this is bombarded on this boron. Clear? So and now this is converted into, suppose that there is an atom X or nuclei X is contained in this, suppose that there are Z, there are A minus Z. Simple. Number of protons and neutrons, and or simple we can write here, suppose that A, we have to calculate mass number actually. So and plus we have an alpha particle, so we can write it like this. Clear? So this equation we have to solve it, and we have to calculate this, the value, which atom this will be, what will be its name, what will be the atomic number and mass number. So the problem is very clear. As you know that in nuclear reactions, charge, rarity and reversal, all the problems are means all things are constant, and also number of protons and number of neutrons and simple mass number and atomic number, all these quantities are always constant in any nuclear reaction. So if these points are constant, then from here we can calculate very easily what will be the value of remaining nucleus. So here we have the total number of atomic number. So what is the total atomic number? That is 5, and here we have already 2. So what will remain here? That will be 3. Clear? And also we have atomic mass total 11, and we have already 4. So what will be here? That will be the value 7. Clear? And here two problems are solved. First, atomic number, that is 3, mass number, that is 7, and as you know that the Z equal to 3 is the lithium atom. So that's why this nucleus will be the nucleus of lithium. So this nucleus will be remained after the bombardment of any neutron on the boron atom. So I think this is simple, clear to you. To solve such types of problem, first write the chemical reaction or a nuclear reaction simple. After writing this, we can easily find out what will be the value or in which is asking in the question. So I think that is clear to you. So how can we solve it? So one more numerical I just want to tell you based on that. So let's see that also. So the same problem is one more just for you clear your confusion. That is, suppose that a neutron is bombarded on any oxygen atom. So this means that we are using the, what is the neutron, that is 1s2, and this is bombarding on oxygen 16, And after bombardment, it is given that an alpha particle is emitted with any nucleus. Means we have to again find out what will be the mass number, atomic mass, and chemical name of the remaining nucleus. So again, in the same manner, we can write that suppose that remaining nucleus is X, and as it is given that here an emission of alpha particle is taken. So these things are given, we have to only calculate it. Then we can easily calculate it what will be the value of mass number and atomic mass. In the same manner, here the total, as I told you, that mass number and atomic mass, that will be always constant on the both sides of the equations. So we can find out easily that here the mass number is total 9 and 2 is already given. So what will be here? Well, that will be 7, and here total mass, atomic mass is 18, and we have already here 4. So what will be the value? That will be 14. So this is the atomic number, this is atomic mass, and as you know that Z equal to 7 is the atomic number of nitrogen. So here what will we get? Finally, the nucleus of nitrogen. So I think this is now totally clear to you how to solve these types of problem. So if this is clear to you, then let's see one numerical problem based on nuclear fission and fusion. So the last week we have studied in the topic of nuclei, that was the nuclear fusion and fission. So let's see some numericals based on that. So the problem is, calculate the energy released by the fission of 1 gram of uranium-235 in kilowatt hour. So it is given that energy per fission is 200 mega electron volt. So here the main concept is the conversion of units, and the first we have to calculate, that is the energy released by the fission of 1 gram of this. Means if 1 gram of uranium is in the nuclear fission, then what amount of energy will be released in that process? So this is the numerical problem based on the nuclear fission. So first of all, we have to calculate how number of atoms there will be in the 1 gram of uranium. So in 1 gram of uranium, there will be the number of atoms totally, that will be Avogadro number upon mass number. Clear? Total. So what will be the Avogadro number? 1 into 10 to the power 23 upon mass number is 235. So this is the total number of atoms present in this uranium-235. Now it is given that energy per fission is this. So what will be the total energy of the atoms here? That will be, means in fission process, what will be the total amount of energy released from here? That will be this. And after calculating this value, we will get 5.216 into 10 to the power 23 mega electron volt. So this will be get. Now we have to calculate the value in the terms of kilowatt hour. The main problem is that. So here we have to use the conversion of units, and as you know that in 1 kilowatt hour there is 3.6 into 10 to the power 6 joule energy. And if we can convert it, this value of joule, into mega electron volt, so to convert it we have to divide it by 1.6 into 10 power minus 13. So this value will be converted into this, or simple, here we have to convert mega electron volt into kilowatt hour. So in the reverse process we can solve it. So what we have to do here, here the value of energy, that is 5.126 into 10 to the power 23. So we have to, simple, in the reverse order, we have to multiply by this amount and divide it by this 3.6 into 10 to the power 6. That value will be in kilowatt hour. So after solving this, we will get the final value, that will be 2.278 into 10 to the power 4 kilowatt hour. So this is the final answer. Then what amount of energy will be released from the fission of 1 gram of uranium-235 in kilowatt hour. Actually, if the in question they would not mention the kilowatt hour, then you can leave it here in the form of mega electron volt. So there is no problem when you can leave it in mega electron volt. But here in the question it is mentioned that we have to calculate in kilowatt hour, so that's why we need to calculate it, we need to convert it. So I think conversion and simple, the calculations are very simple, and that is clear to you. How can we calculate energy released in the process of nuclear fission? So there is one more problem I have taken, that is already asked in board examination. So that's why I just want to discuss it also here. So in this numerical, we have to calculate the energy of the following nuclear reaction. So nuclear reaction is already given, means 1s2 plus 1s3 is like that's just like this. Means here the nuclear fusion is used, and this is the problem of nuclear fusion also, and we have to calculate what will be the amount of energy released from here. And it is given that the masses of all these four particles that is given. So we can calculate what will be the energy released in this process, as it is given that energy is released, so that's why this energy will be greater than this energy. So we can calculate first what amount of mass is defected in this process. So delta M will be simple mass of 1s2 plus mass of 1s3 minus mass of 2He4 plus mass of 0 and 1. Clear? Simple. Means the amount of mass or will appear in the form of energy that will be defected in this process. So that amount of mass will be greater here in comparison to this, and we can calculate it by using this data. So after putting the value of data, what will we get? So let's arrange these things. So first only this. So what will be the value of delta M? That value will be mass of S2, that is 2.14 plus 102 plus mass of 1s3, that is 3.01049, so 016049 minus mass of 2He4, that is 4.002603, and also plus 1 point mass of neutron, that is 1.008665. So this will give us a final value of delta M, that will be in AMU or simple unit mass. And now as you know that this if this energy is in AMU form, then this will denote the binding energy of the nucleus. So if this is the binding energy, then this energy will appear in the form of release of energy, means the Q will be equal to this amount of energy. And if we will multiply this whole term by 931.5, then this will be converted into the form of mega electron volt. So we can calculate the final value of what energy released in this equation, and that value will be 17.58 mega electron volt. So I think there is no confusion regarding to all these. If masses are given in form of kg, and because I have already told you the conversion of kg into mu and other things, so I think there should not be any confusion. But still I just want to tell you, if masses are in kg, then we first have to calculate and m into c square. We have to multiply the speed of that, and after that we will get the values of energy in the joule. Here in this equation, if masses are given in atomic terms, atomic unit terms, then for that will be already there will be the multiplication of c square has been taken. So that's why this simply this will denote the energy of the atom or nuclei, because as you know that according to Einstein relation, there is a concept of mass energy, not mass and energy, mass energy, and this unit shows that things mass energy. So that's why this will denote the energy released in the system, and if we multiply this, then we can convert it more convenient unit, that is mega electron volt. So we can understand it, because in the nuclear terms, nuclear fission or fusion, there are a large amount of energy is emitted. So that's why we always try to convert it into mega electron volt, because this unit is used for a huge amount of energy. So that's why we use it. So I think in all these process, all these calculations, there is no problem now, all of you. So if all the numerical problems regarding to nuclei is clear to you, simple how to calculate the nuclear properties, how to calculate energy released in the process, or in the energy released in nuclear fission and fusion, and also the problems regarding to binding energy per nucleon, I have already so I was already explained you by the word numerical problems is. So I think now the concept and numerical problems both regarding to this chapter is clear to you. So in tomorrow, let's first tomorrow let's see one practical, that is that will be related to electricity, and in that practical we will calculate the unknown resistance by using meter bridge. So tomorrow let's first let's study that, and let's see the practical how can we perform an experiment by using meter bridge. So after that I will again continue the numerical problems as I'm going on. So for today let's end the class here, guys. Thank you.